Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. No complaints here in South Alabama. The weather's been off to a pretty good start, although we're going to get a little rain this afternoon. But yeah, no complaints. Anyhow, today I want to talk about, should a raw food diet be so complicated? Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then be sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel. I got to thinking about this over the weekend. I don't know, I was just kind of watching some stuff on YouTube, and I was following a couple of discussions in a couple of different groups online, in one place on Reddit. And it just really made me start thinking, the 8.5, 9 years I've been doing this lifestyle, about how many discussions, how many debates, how many arguments, how much back and forth I've seen. And it kind of sometimes reminds me like religion. Even within a religion, you still have those sects of people that are, they believe a different way on that even particular religion. So you'll have like 25 different people within a religion all saying this is the one way to do it, that's not a good way to do it. There's the juicing versus the smoothies, don't do this, do that. And I'm like, really? As humans, something we're supposed to do, we're designed to do every day we eat. Is it really supposed to be this complicated? And these are all just rhetorical questions. I'm not looking for a response or an answer on it. But, I sometimes laugh, and I remember back when I first started doing this channel or was first on social media, I would get a question or a comment or something like this, and I'd be reading it, and I'd be like, well, Jesus Christ. I'm like, do I have to write a damn term paper for this person? I'm like, why am I having to get into something? If I have to think this much about it, I mean, that's just not, for me, that's just not how I want to live my life. That's not how I want my eating experience to be, like constantly. God knows you've heard me rattle on and on about the science, and I do want to understand the science of this lifestyle, and I do my own research to make sure, that I'm getting the things that I need. But there's a line, and I don't overdo it. And I don't obsess over every little minute detail on this lifestyle, because I don't know, like I say, I just don't think that's how we were designed. The gorilla, he's not out. I don't think he's out there. Obviously he doesn't have the internet. I don't think he does, but obviously the gorilla's not out there doing his thing, thinking like, okay, let's see, I've eaten these leaves, blah, blah, blah. The gorilla just eats, the tiger just eats, the lion just eats, the dog just eats, the cat just eats in the wild. I'm not talking about dogs and cats in captivity, but everybody just eats. They eat what they're designed to eat. And yet for us, and like the irony of it is people will eat a standard American diet, never question for 1 minute what they're putting into their body, other than this just kind of like, yeah, I need to do better. Yeah, I need to do better. But they'll go to a fast food place 3 times a week. They'll eat the most ungodly things you can imagine. And it's always kind of this joke, though. Even on the standard American diet, even on a bad version of the standard American diet, there's always kind of this, yeah, Joe, yeah, I need to do better. My wife's on my back. I need to watch that stuff. I need to do less of this. But it's kind of a joking, and it's kind of one day, and it's kind of, wink, I'm never going to do this. But yet you go vegan, much less raw vegan, and then all of a sudden people are afraid you're going to die. Or even people that go raw vegan, they're like, oh my God, it's like this kind of, let me see, okay, the checklist. Have I gotten enough of this? Oh God, if I don't get enough of this. And you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're eating healthy stuff, you're eating real food, you're eating whole foods. And yet, once you flip over like that, then there's this big concern, and then everybody, even people that are overweight, that are not even remotely healthy, will worry about somebody that's not. So yeah, it's just like kind of crazy sometimes. But yeah, I just don't think it needs to be that complicated where, I've got to be like, okay, well, let me explain this science, like the science of this, if you eat this, and the reason the greens, they break down into this, and the sprouts, blah, 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 blah. I just, like I say, I just don't think it's necessary to know all of that. I have my base. And also too, I listen to my body. I think people are not really that tuned into their body. And maybe I just have more time on my hands, or maybe I'm by myself more and I have more time to be aware of the food and how it affects my body. But like I say, it's like I've felt my way down this path for 8.5 years. That sounds a little woo-ish, but that's the only way. It's kind of a good analogy. I've kind of felt my way down this path for 8.5 years. I do things. I see how they feel in my body. And I trust a little bit of the body intuition to a certain extent. Like sometimes, and like I say, if somebody's genuinely just interested and they're asking questions, but I see people, they'll be trying to, they want to knock it down for some reason, like, well, you're going to fall apart, or well, yeah, you've been doing it for almost 9 years, but, or yeah, you've been doing it, but, and I'm thinking, okay, but what? Are you possibly telling me that I feel great? I felt a little bit better every year. Everything about my body tells me I'm going in the right direction. Every little twist I make, every little tweak I make, every little change I make gets me a little bit closer, makes me feel a little bit better. So you're going to tell me that like what, at year 10, at year 11, I can be feeling this good all the way up there, and then all of a sudden I'm just going to fall apart, my nutrition's going to fall apart? I don't think so. And I've never been, and that's why I think this journey has worked for me. Well, there's a number of reasons. One being, by myself, just doing this kind of thing on my own all the time. But I've never taken this stuff overly serious. I'm just kind of, like I say, kind of felt my way along. I'm like, oh, well, I liked a lot of fruit. Fruit was the base from the beginning. I've evolved in the sense that it's not like fruit fruit was probably 90% at some points when I was in Costa Rica, and just things like, like there were things I look back on. I was probably drinking too much fruit juice down there as opposed to eating it, and just little things, but fruit has always been the base. Very early on that I realized the power of those greens. So you get your fruit, you get your greens, and you just start adding a piece by piece. It's like this health jigsaw puzzle. And you learn a little bit as you go, but you're eating good food. You're eating your fruit, you're eating your greens. You get the sprouts, like I've added the sprouts, and I encourage everybody to add the sprouts. I start adding things like, okay, well, and like I say, I don't chase every individual nutrient, but I do, okay, let's go through a checklist. These things are important. Am I getting this? Oh, I eat a lot of hemp seeds and a lot of chia seeds, to get those omega-3s. I use my blackstrap molasses to get my calcium and iron, because yes, there are some nutrients that I do really double down on and pay attention. But once again, I'm not having to think about those. There's foods that are abundant in all these things. You get enough food to, we found this last year, they talk about a boost with this pandemic, boosting our immune system. And what are the main vitamins they've been talking about? They've been talking about C, they've been talking about vitamin D, and they've been talking about zinc. Those are all things that I've probably had in my diet, and those are all things, look at it. This, regardless of if you're following a vegan diet, a raw diet, or whatever, everybody pretty much agrees across the board on those particular nutrients, the vitamin C, the vitamin D, and the zinc for the immune system. Now, obviously in Costa Rica, I never supplemented vitamin D. Never did it. Here I've supplemented vitamin D in the wintertime. Vitamin C, obviously, especially down in Costa Rica, I got plenty. Y'all, sorry about a little bit of noise. We got machines in the neighborhood today, but obviously in Costa Rica and even here, get plenty of vitamin C. I get plenty of zinc. I supplement a zinc. I take a B12 supplement, but there's not all that much thought that goes into my food. It's just like, am I covering my bases? Am I covering every base? Probably not. Is anybody on any diet covering all their bases? No. There is nobody that's probably, and who knows, maybe 100 years from now, there'll be enough science and there'll be enough people that have studied this stuff to know exactly how to, we need exactly this much of this, this much of that. But it's just not that complicated. Feed yourself whole foods. Get out of the mentality of perfection. Don't worry. I don't want to say don't worry about details and just be sloppy, but there's certain things you're going to do, whether you're trying to eat fully raw or not, or whether you disagree or not. There's certain items that are going to be at the best neutral, like maybe some of the cooked food not going to provide as much nutrition for your body, or maybe you do it like me. Like I say, most of the cooked food that I eat is just simply for calories, simply for filler because I need it. But this thing is not that complicated, so don't look at it like this. That's so many people get intimidated and don't even attempt to do a raw food diet. Like I hear people, like you would think I live on the moon and breathe another substance sometime when people say, oh, I could never do that. I'm like, why? Like 6 months before I was doing this, I was a drunk eating ribs and burgers in bars and doing shots and all that kind of stuff. So what kind of special superpowers did I have? But anyhow, just don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Just eat whole plant-based foods. Learn a little bit more each day. Eat a lot of fruit. Eat a lot of greens. Do those sprouts like Jack keeps telling you. Fill in the blanks. And you're gonna mostly be okay. There's people. I'm coming to understand. There's people that have certain issues, but that's above my head. And you're gonna probably have to find somebody. If you have some actual physical medical thing going on, then you got to reach out for some expert help on that. Somebody that's actually dealt with that. But in general, a normal, healthy person. Just eat. We have an abundance to eat from on this raw food diet. So anyhow, my 2 cents worth. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again towards the end of the week. Peace.